Yes, people, what are we all doing? Apologies about the voice and the aura today. I'm tired, alright? I'm tired. It's been a long few days with both Leeds and other stuff, so yeah. I appreciate all supporting these videos as usual, but got a lot on this week as well with football, haven't we? We've got a game on Wednesday against Hull. Here's the player ratings from the game, in my opinion, on basically just the way I thought the guys performed. Some good ones this year, this week. Some good ones. Probably some of the highest they'll get in some areas, but yeah, I'll get into it. This is what I thought. Let me know what you guys think. First one, Elan Meslier. Now, again, it's difficult for me to rate a keeper because one, especially in this system and under Daniel Farke, they don't have a lot to do during a game, so the sample size is quite small. Also, I'm not a keeper, but if I take it back to core principles of what the manager would want, I think the stuff that he played with the ball at his feet, the distribution, which it did make some errors there. I think if we're being really realistic, in a system where the goalkeeper is required a lot to be on the ball, let's be real. Goalkeepers are goalkeepers. They're not midfielders. Even the best ones in the world, the best distributors, they make mistakes. They are the best in the world. And you don't have that at any level other than maybe 3 or 4 teams in the world. So to have someone with the feet who is absolutely sublime in a system that requires it is quite difficult to expect not to have mistakes. So Meslier did have some. And actually what Millwall did very well was cut off the easy passes and forced us then to make a decision to play the hard ones, the difficult ones, because they had two. They had two at top we didn't come up against, which is why it was a bit tough, the centre-backs. There was two at the top, and so Meslier hesitated at times because of that. Maybe he's not expecting a two at the top. It's a different prospect, different opposition. It's completely different to what you expect. But I think the core principles, the way in which he made his saves, he got down well to some of them. He came for cross as well again. Yeah, and we got another clean sheet. 6.5, very close to a 7. Probably a few more saves, or he had a few more touches, and it would have been, but 6.5, decent score from Milan again. The fullbacks, I like the fullbacks in this system. Sam Byram, I give a 7.5. Now, let me just clarify this. Sam Byram and both fullbacks could have been higher. They could. But the overall actual build-up in terms of how they were directly involved in the goals wasn't as high as some of the attackers, even though they were in the moves, if that makes sense. So I couldn't give higher. And also, they didn't have a lot of defending to do in terms of out-and-out wingers against them. There was Longman on the left, who Luke Ayling was up against. He didn't take him on. What he did was cut inside to other bodies, which Luke Ayling then passed on, and just hit one 30 yards over the bar about 10 times. So it's hard to really judge. Sam Byram 1v1 against Norton Cuffey was brilliant. This guy, Sam Byram 1v1, is a joke. He really is. And not only that this time, he just seemed so confident and like he understood the system more than anyone else. Every pass he did was the right one. There's no question of that. Earlier on in the season, Sam often just went back and played it safe, but now what we're seeing, the player, is this progression of the way in which he moves without the ball and the areas he picks up, the inverted areas. Times he chooses to join attack, times he chooses not to join the attack seem to be perfect. And his distribution, the way in which he finds the right pass, he genuinely Sam Byram. And again, I would have given more if he had more to do defensively. He didn't have that much. In the short time he did, the 3 or 4 times he did have to Norton Cuffey 1v1, and he won. But look, he was brilliant. 7.5 Sam Byram. Looked extremely confident. Luke Ayling again. Similar. I actually thought Luke Ayling played really well this game. I do. I know people are going to have critics. He always does. He makes one mistake. He does one thing bad, which everyone does in the game. Ampadu did. Ampadu made a terrible pass to their midfielder where they should have scored from. Ampadu did that. Luke Ayling had a similar one, but what he did was he made up for it in the end. He started the attack. I don't care what starts the attack. If you do an action that starts an attack, you're involved in the goal. Dan James's goal. Great ball through. Evolved in the goal. Defensively, I thought he was fine. Longman didn't really have much luck against him, but Longman likes to kind of do that early cross. And it's hard because he didn't get too tight to him because he didn't want to get beat down the outside. So he kind of allowed that early cross. And I think Leeds allowed that early cross because we were all right with it. That early cross was fine because, even the shot from him because we fully identified that we can just pack the box when they do that early cross, or let them shoot from 30 yards out. That's a better option than being cut through the middle or the outside. It worked. 6.5. Again, if you got more involved and generally defending against a winger or even going forward at times, because it wasn't his most involvement in terms of going forward, even though he was involved in the goals, he would have got higher. But 2 good scores for the fullbacks, I think. I think they're fair. These 2 guys, man. I just want to talk about, real quick, Pascal Struijk, because it's so weird, and you guys probably agree, right? Is it weird that there's always a contrast in Pascal Struijk every game? See, some people say he's rubbish, and some people say he was amazing. It's really, I don't know why it's him. It must be his demeanour, the way I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And what I will say, he did have some shaky moments at the start. He did. But the importance of a centre-back is the partnership. And the importance, when you have these shaky moments, is how you deal with them and who you've got next to you to get you through those difficult moments. And Pascal Struijk has this man, Joe Rodon, next to him, get him through those difficult moments. Not only that, we're talking about, again, this is completely different from Millwall, who had 2 at the top, 2 up top, most times, Nisbet and Bradshaw, 2 at top. There was none of this pass him on, this is your man, this is your man. Struijk dealt well for the most part with Bradshaw for me. He was a difficult striker. Maybe not clinical, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about everything else. And it's decent at this level. There won't be much tougher tests in terms of how you have to deal with them, for example. Look, there'll be better strikers he'll come up against, for sure. But the constant 90-minute pressure this guy puts on you, it's difficult. And he dealt with it 8 out of 10 times, I think. He really grew into the game. And from maybe the first dodgy 10 minutes, maybe one mistake after that. But after that second half, I think all the pressure they had, anything that came into the box, went out of the box. And that's a striker's job. I think they got in 1v1 once, but that's, again, it was a bit of a counter, wasn't it? And Struijk kind of had 2 options to make, and he did get beat with a pass. But again, Bradshaw was fairly wide, wasn't a simple 1v1, it was a tight angle, so I don't mind that. 7.5, I thought everything else about Pascal was solid. I love this partnership, I really do. Joe Rodon is the guy on the far left. Those people that some people go to see who they are. My dad. Joe Rodon with a headband on there, and that sums it up for me. Because you look at a defender with a headband on, and you think, bit of a brick, bit of a unit, and he was. But then I could show you 10, 15 clips of this guy playing football. And this is it with Joe Rodon. He can do both. He can do both. He'll get his head in 15 concussions a game. Obviously not really concussions, so he wouldn't be playing. But he can get his head in that state. And also run past 3 or 4 players when he wants. Just ping a pass. Drive with the ball. Aggressive passes. He does all this as well as that. 1v1 defending is excellent. Recovery speed, excellent. Not a slow defender, which we've needed. He genuinely, talking about man of the match, people talking about obvious players. Joe Rodon is right up there for me. Genuinely was. I thought he was excellent. I'm not going to give it him just because you got to give it to an attacker, right? Or another person. Joe Rodon was, guys. I'm going to miss him when he leaves. I already will. What a player. These two are just so good, aren't they? They're just so good. I know everyone's quickly looking at Archie Gray and thinking 7. No. Like we've looked at the consistent, 7's a good score. On most weeks, 7's the highest at times. Archie Gray again. Nothing phases him. This was such a tough test, they said. Not for Archie Gray, not for a 17-year-old. Again, the only reason it's not as high because he didn't get involved in as much stuff as Ampadu did. That's it. Everything he did do, spot on. It really was. But in terms of involvement in both defensively and going forward, Ampadu was more involved. Archie Gray just did everything he needed in those areas, picking up it in those pockets, starting attacks that led to goals. His kind of reading of the game is genuinely mind-blowing for a 17-year-old. Seriously. The amount of times they would try to put a ball across the box, he'd just step in and take it off them. What a player this guy is. Genuinely. There's a young lad, not much pressure on him. 7 out of 10. Amazing score. But then let's talk about the guy next to him. The guy who I've had the longest rant on Twitter with people, because apparently he's not as good as I say he is, and I hype him up because he's a Leeds United player. That's it. That's apparently, I'm not here saying this guy's best in the league, this guy's best in the league. But when I say Ethan Ampadu is the best all-round central midfielder in the league, I'm not hearing he's not, because he is. I've watched players, and look, people talk about Dewsbury Hall, and don't get me wrong, I like Dewsbury Hall a lot. I do. I liked him last season in the Prem, when he broke through. I thought, this guy's good. That's like the way he moves on the ball, his technical ability. I think he's an outstanding player. I genuinely do. But if we're talking about pure performance all around in game involvement this season, Ampadu's been better. And people argue that. Leeds fans argue that all day with me, telling me he's not. It's fine, but is that not convincing? Both excellent midfielders, but in terms of what they can produce, which is very high this ceiling, Ethan Ampadu for me in central midfielder in the Championship this season has been the best all round. He can do anything. And the reason I'd give him a 9, and I don't give 9s out easily, you guys know that. The reason I'd give this man a 9 is because I can't explain, what doesn't he do? We saw last week, he could have had 2 assists, robbed of assists. We saw the week before, controlling a game. We see tenacity, we see recovery speed, reading of the game, passing short and long, choosing the right pass, areas he picks the ball up in. This guy has everything. And the other day was honestly, for me, his most complete performance yet. And that's what I want from Ampadu. There was one pass that he almost gave them a goal. After that moment, sublime. Body on the line, won everything, dominated their midfield, who tried to mark him at times. Get off him. It was too quick for you. Ethan Ampadu is, by far, in my opinion, best player in this league. I don't care what ratings say. Ratings are massively favoured. You get an assist, you're getting a 7.5 regardless. Forget about them lot. Forget about ratings. I don't care. I'm talking about what I watch and what I see. This guy is phenomenal. What a player. 7 million from Chelsea. Wow. The 2 best mates. Nonto and Somerville. Look. Nonto. And it is with Nonto. We've seen his performances. Right now, this is his level. It is. Because what Nonto's doing at this level, and as you can see, is as a more talented player than the players he's coming up against. It's not, I won't say it's too easy for him. In the sense that he's not getting goals and assists. He's got 1 assist. He's got, 1 goal this season, which was a tap-in. But what he's doing in games, what I really like Nonto in terms of his ability, is any 1v1s, he comes out on top. Now, people talk about, you want him to get that Prem move. And he probably could in some other world, but let's be real. He looks good at this level. Not out of this level, but good. This is a good development level for Wilfred Nonto is what I'm trying to say. He looks good here. Just better than everyone he comes up against. We're not to the point where I'm going, this guy is top 10 Premier League teams, let's go. This guy will be phenomenal. And his performances are very consistent this season. Consistent without being the best attacker on the pitch every game and without being the worst. A good, consistent performer. He's doing what he needs on the wing. Taking guys on, giving fullbacks a nightmare. He's not standing out every game as being the best attacker on the pitch. This is his level right now. And this is what I wanted him to do because I believe he's just the best for him to develop. He's getting kicked every game, and that's what happened yesterday. He got kicked and kicked and kicked. Didn't bother him. Does he sulk stuff? I don't care. Look, I've seen some wild stuff. Again, 1 or 2 people talk about when he comes off, he don't look happy. I'm not happy when I come off. I hate it. What have you got to be smiling for? Rutter smile because he got a goal and an assist. Not wanted more. Look at Pablo Hernandez. That guy hated coming off. Like some players are like that. When they don't think they've done enough. But it's been very consistent this season, Nonto has. He's done his job very well. I give him a solid 7 out of 10. Somerville, now again, we're looking at the standard of this player, and for me, this was his least consistent performance this season. Like I said, direct and tried starting a lot of attacks. The final choice was off, and that's the kind of thing with Somerville so far. The way in which this guy can just flow with the ball is the best in the side. When he runs with it and his defenders around him, no one gets near him. So calm and direct when he runs. It's outstanding. Just glides through players. It's just about learning the nuances of when to drop that ball off to someone else, which he just struggled with. He did it 2 or 3 times when Luke Aylin's made that run. He's delayed and delayed. That will come. And at times he looked unplayable yesterday, but at times he struggled to get the ball and struggled to produce what he is capable of producing. So not the best performance from him consistently. But again, if we do get that consistent player, I truly believe this guy will explode in this league. He's close to. You got to remember with Somerville as well. This is his first full season in his career where he's going to be a big star player. He's not had it at Leeds yet. Last year he was in and out of it still with Sinisterra and a few other wingers, you know. Give him that time to be consistent. He's working hard. He's playing well. He's showing you some really good stuff. Once that consistency comes and that final product and understanding when to find the final product and when to release the ball, Premiership be on watch. There already should be on watch, but even more. Yeah, 6.5. Some hefty ratings here. And we'll start off with Joel Piroe, who's underneath me. Now, I know what you're all saying. How's he got an 8.5? Right. I'm talking about the performance of the player, not one aspect, which is a goal, right? I'm not a ratings website. All right, I'm an analyst. You know, there's more than goals. The reason Joel Piroe plays in that 10 is because to be involved in the game, to get involved in the build-up, to create attacks, you know, what he did was score goals, and that, at the end of the day, is part of his job. He's not a 9, he's a 10 in the system predominantly. They switch around a lot. So he needs to score goals. And the goals he's got, that first finish was outstanding. The move between, the connection between these two is growing. And oh my God, when that connection explodes, this is going to be ridiculous, by the way. Because that first goal was absolutely sublime from back to front. You know, it's given me shades of a previous manager when we'd get the ball at the back and 3 passes later we're in on goal and we score. Joel Piroe got 2 goals. And that's what we need him to do. That's what he's there to do. But also in that role, he has to do more in terms of build-up. And I just think at times, hear me out, at times he is a bit quiet in the game and can look a little slow on the ball. At times. And that's why I'm not giving higher. Saying that like it's crazy. And one of the goals was a 3-yard tap-in, which he had to be there for. He did. But he got 2 goals. And that's what he's there to do. And that's why he got an 8.5. The reason, the difference between him and Georginio, for me, who got a 9, who we'll get onto in a sec, is Georginio got more involved in the overall game in terms of the performance of the team, in the build-up, when we had the ball in possession, on the counter. Piroe was there near the box, but this guy was there from the box to the box. Do you know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. But look, Joe Piroe is phenomenal. He's got 3 in 3 for Leeds now. This guy's getting 25 goals this season. Forget who's the 9 and the 10. If he's scoring goals and he's getting goals and assists, fine by me. That argument has to stop. Because if he's the 10 or the 9, he's scoring goals. That's his job. That's what he's in the team to do, and he's doing it. And Rutter. Sorry, Georginio. He likes to be called Georginio. Apologies. If I say Rutter, I apologise. Georginio. Read that. Unplayable. That's the difference between Piroe and Georginio in this game and why it's a 0.5 difference, which is nothing. I just think Georginio's overall build-up and the way in which he progressed the ball with the ball at his feet was absolutely sublime. And look, that's not Piroe's role. It isn't. But the way in which Georginio just grasped the game and created everything when he had that ball, anytime he got it, just for me, was just like, wow. We talk about man of the matches, and I'm so happy for this guy because the criticism he gets every week when he has a bad week or he misses a chance and people bring that boring price tag trope up. I don't care about the price tag. This is the player we've got now. The person who brought that, the person who gave him that price tag isn't here. Stop giving that the credit to them. Forget the price tag. It's a new start of the season. New player, Georginio, Rutter. You know, that was Rutter. We've got Georginio now. Right? Unplayable yesterday. unplayable. This guy is scary when he gets that ball up and he's running at defenders. His decision making is always right in the final third. The way to pass is always good. Not always right, most times right. Yesterday was phenomenal. That goal, and the build up to that goal was the way in which he delayed the pass to Gnonto to allow others to come into play was so smart as well. People thought, release it. No. He's waiting. He's waiting for the two other guys to come up because he was in front of them. Genius. It's so good to see him smile. It's so good to see him play well because I've always believed in this guy. And I keep telling people that don't trust me on this one. All right, just on this one. This guy has ultra talent. And we are seeing it. And look, he's not going to play like this every game, which I said when he played well against Ipswich. He's not going to play like this every game. He'll have off games. He will. That's just the player he is. He's a robust, raw player. And he'll have off games. But when he's on them, when he's got on games, the league can't get close to him. The defenders yesterday could not get close to him. Even tactically, the way in which he dropped deep, and then sometimes he'd stretch the play. 9 out of 10. He was absolutely... And just seeing him happy and smiling in the celebrations, I'm genuinely so happy for him. I can't describe how happy I am for this guy. Genuinely. What a guy. And that's why I give him a 0.5 over Piroe, just because of the other stuff in terms of the build-up play. At times. I just think he's quicker. His decision making is often quicker sometimes on the ball at the moment. But Piroe, again, he's still learning that system. But what he's doing is scoring goals. So when he does learn the system, imagine the build-up play is going to be even more quicker and direct. And he's going to get more goals. Both phenomenal. We'll quickly move on with these guys. Kamara behind me. Didn't have a lot to do. I didn't give him a rain. But nice to see him on the pitch to get minutes. Dan James came on and got 2 assists. Look, I don't care what they look like. I couldn't care less. His actions led to a goal. Him being in that position led to a goal. I do not care. If he does that 20 times this season, right? I don't care. That's 20 assists. That's 20 goals you've given us. I don't care what they look like. I could not care less. When he came on, he had a job, and Daniel Farke said, be the outlet up top, on the wing. Be the outlet. Did it. Did his job perfectly when it came on. So in terms of impact on the game, when he came on, he was directly involved in 2 goals. I'll give him a 7. I don't usually give that for guys that don't get too long. Directly involved in 2 goals at a time when we needed that. We needed him to come on and we needed someone to stretch the play and just maintain the ball at the top and create chances. And he did it. I don't care if it's gone through his legs and bashed off his shins and gone straight to Piroe. He started that attack. And he got him in position. Then he gave it to Piroe. Great assist. The other one as well. Slight look with a cross, but he's in that wide area. He's stretching them. He's giving them a decision to make with the cross. And it founds Rutter. And what a finish from Georginio Rutter. Jonan I give a 6. Thought, look, first game back for us. First game for us. Thought he looked good, decent. Nothing too extravagant. Give him a 6 out of 10. There'll be more to come from Jonan this season. Best believe. Got in a few decent areas as well. Looks dangerous on the ball for sure. These 2 guys, Joffy and Gruev. Nice to see Gruev the first time get some minutes. That's all it was. Just a little taster. Nothing else to say. Joffy again, didn't get too long. Got himself up there, kept himself busy. And really quick, let's end on this guy right here, the coach. Read what I said. He got the lineup correct. Strauch stuck with his principles, and that's what I love about this guy. He's so calm on the sideline. He sticks to what he believes. When people get frustrated, he doesn't. He believes in this system. He believes in the principles of play that he provides the team. His team played some excellent stuff and adapted the team balance when Millwall attacked. And that's what I mean. We were happy to let Millwall cross it in because we had an extra man in there in Ampadu and the 3 centre-backs who just dealt with everything. And then that's when we was like, right, if they want to cross it in and bring numbers up, that's fine because we'll deal with that. And then we know we've got 4 guys ready to counter. Perfect tactical nous there from Daniel Farke. Got it spot on. The subs were made at the right time. They injected that little bit of energy and attack that we needed at that point. We did. Phenomenal. What a manager. What a man. That's all I've got this week, guys. Let me know what you guys think. I'm genuinely so happy with this one. Tough game against Hull coming up. 2 less days to prepare than them, which is absolutely massive in football. So they have a massive advantage. You do. But look, I believe in these players. Get these players ticking, get them right, get the cohesion there. And we are, like we saw against Millwall, ready to explode. We're close. We're close to being a team that I think is genuinely can be consistently performing at the top level. Close. Not there yet. There's still some consistency I'm not sure about yet, but it's coming with time. I appreciate all the support, as usual. These guys.